This is the worst story we know.
I think this is a ghost story.
Don't try to bamboozle me.
So we meet this guy David, who just slept with this woman, and starts up some sexy pillow talk.
What are you?
And considering he's just letting his bathwater overflow, either they just had mind-blowing sex, or she just laid there like a corpse.
I'm just an old-fashioned girl.
But when he turns her over, we see that it was option B.
Don't you want to make love to me?
No!
And then he falls out of the shittiest window ever built in a high-rise, and he dies. But I'm not sure how. He turned her over next to the bed, so he would have backed into the desk, or the chair, or even the cabinet next to the window, meaning that he shouldn't have had enough momentum to even get a bruise when he hit that window.
Black magic.
Donald, his non-mustachioed brother, gets a call from his dad saying that David's dead, so he goes home for the funeral. His dad questions why he only brought a small overnight bag, but after they greet each other with a handshake, and we listen to his dad complain that he's disappointed that Don is only a college professor who's currently working on a book, we can understand why he wants to make this a quick trip.
Isn't it about time you straightened out?
But Don thinks that David might have been murdered because he had sex with David's fiancée.
You'd think you knew what he was capable of.
So the dead lady he had sex with was his fiancée?
Well, it appears that way, but that's not the impression that I got.
Who are you? Tell me.
Anyway, after the funeral, Don finds his dad having a nightmare and agrees to stay for a few more days. But it seems that all of his dad's friends are having trouble sleeping.
Or maybe I should grab that bottle and veg out with you. Avoid everything happening to me by just getting good and loaded.
Ricky's wife blames it on them staying up late to tell each other ghost stories.
Those gruesome stories you tell each other. It's a wonder you can sleep at all.
But considering that the last one that they told was only about a guy thinking he heard something in a cemetery and then going back to bed after not finding out that someone was buried alive, I doubt that's it.
I think that was the worst shocker we've had in years.
The next day, Ned wanders out into the snow in his pajamas, and after walking several blocks, he thinks he sees his son David. He looks down for a second, and when he looks back up, he's gone, and for some unknown reason, he looks under the bridge. But then he hears a woman say his name, and he turns to see a rotting corpse, and he falls off the bridge, and he dies.
Wouldn't the rails on a bridge be like really high?
Oh yeah, these are like above his waist, so he would have had to like pole vault over that thing.
It's high. It's very high.
But the people in this story have really shitty balance, so just kind of go with it.
This was an accident.
Was that what you told everybody?
So Ned's friends, the Chowder Society, and yes, they actually call themselves that.
The Chowder Society.
Well, they get together, and Ricky thinks that there's something fishy going on. Sears disagrees, and John has to be taken home because he's a crybaby.
I don't believe it.
Well, Ricky's solution for this is to break into a boarded up house outside of town.
You're trespassing here, illegally.
I should hope to hell not.
There is no owner.
And when he goes upstairs, he encounters Gregory Bate and his cross-dressing brother Finney, who know who Ricky is. Gregory tells him that he's helping his new friend fuck with him.
And if I told you everything else that you don't already know, you'd run from here in terror.
And then Ricky reports him for trespassing. Well, it turns out that Gregory was part of a cult in California, and that both he and his brother just recently broke out of a mental institute.
That happens a lot.
Really?
But Ricky confesses his concern to Don, who in return presents Ricky with a picture of them when they were in college with some girl. Don found it hidden in one of his dad's old trunks and thinks that he recognizes the woman, even though her face is blurred.
Oh, who's that? She's pretty.
But Ricky doesn't answer him when he asks who it is. Later that night, Don hears someone playing in the elevator in his house, because who doesn't have one of those? But it turns out to be Gregory Bate, who wants to quote scripture to him and have his brother vomit up a necklace.
You can go to Tiffany's and have a fat businessman from Cleveland buy you all the diamonds you want.
And him seeing the necklace makes him race to the Chowder Society to try to become a member, where the price of admission is a story. He tells one about how he was dating this one chick, but immediately dumped her ass because another girl knew his name.
How'd she know who I was?
That night, they go out and have too much fun eating ice cream, so they bang.
They're really clicking sexually.
And in the morning, Alma won't tell him anything about herself, but seems awfully interested in him, his family, and where he grew up. And throughout their relationship, she manages to avoid any conversations about her by turning things sexual. But things get really weird after he pretends to drown her. Because later on that night, he wakes up to her catatonic, so they go away for the weekend. He's ready to run off to Europe with her and get married, but Alma wants to go to his hometown and have a proper wedding. She wants his dad and all his friends to see her, even though he says he doesn't get along with any of them.
Well, my father and I don't get along all that well.
He wakes up later that night and finds her staring at the water, and she says,
I will take you places where you have never been.
Aw, thanks.
I will show you things that you have never scene.
It's really cool.
And I will see the life run out of you.
I'm sorry, what?
So after she tells him she's planning on killing him slowly, she goes to bed like nothing happened.
The hell was that?
And the next night when they get back to her place, Don says that he wants to hold off them getting married, and she loses her shit because he's having second thoughts. I mean, I don't know why. She's just a woman he knows nothing about.
Come on, tell me. I've told you everything about me.
That seems to have some serious unresolved trauma that also threatened to kill him. Completely normal engagement.
Is that so?
So he leaves, and when he goes to apologize to her at work the next day, she didn't show up. And when he goes to her house, all her shit's gone.
It was as if she had never been here.
So a month goes by, and Don drunk dials his brother at work for no reason, but David tells him that he's engaged to Alma, and Don tells him to break it off because
that motherfucker back there is not real!
And tells David to touch her because she's always cold.
But how did neither of them realize she was cold?
Because the power of boners is strong, Lori.
Oh, yeah.
Could you be a little more specific?
But anyway, Sears doesn't believe his story.
There's no such thing as spirit.
So he pulls out the photo of them again and is like, this blurry bitch is my and my brother's fiance. And if that's not enough, then how did Gregory Bate get the necklace that I actually never saw her wear?
Last time I saw Alma, she was wearing this.
Well, this sends crybaby John over the edge, and he starts begging for them to talk about something.
Listen to me, please, please.
And even though Ricky wants them to talk about it, he calls Millie, John's housekeeper, to take him to bed.
Oh, my friends, my dear, dear friends.
Easy, John.
No, please, please let me talk about it.
No!
And she ignores his wishes and makes all the people that might actually be able to help him leave.
You're a stubborn old mule, John Jaffrey. But I love you.
And in the morning, Millie notices a woman in the study, and she tells her that she'll be right with her. And she doesn't question how she got in the house, or why she's even there, because he doesn't see Patience anymore.
I don't see Patience.
That's what I told her.
Lies! Deceptions!
But Millie treats John to breakfast in bed, even though he strangled her last night in his sleep. He was having a nightmare where he said that someone was dead, but then the corpse attacked him. And for some strange reason, Millie thinks that a doctor having a nightmare about a misdiagnosis is something to ask follow-up questions about. But she drops it and goes to check on the woman downstairs, who apparently got impatient and left. But John starts having a heart attack and goes to his office to look for his pills. And when they can't find him, Millie assumes that the woman that was there took them.
I don't believe you.
John has to tell her to go call an ambulance, clearing the room for the woman that John knows as Eva Galli to come in and turn into a snotty corpse.
Holy boogers!
This gives John an even bigger heart attack, and he dies. So because John's now dead, Sears finally agrees to tell Don their secret.
With America's favorite old fart, reading a book in front of a fireplace.
50 years ago, this English girl, Eva Galli, came to their small town.
She's very classy.
So naturally, the Chowder Society decided to stalk her and then simp on her as a group. She clearly takes interest in Ned, but the rest don't give a shit and think that they'll eventually get their turn after a while.
Who's next?
They even blow off other women.
Shut up, Eddie.
We eventually find out that she's renting the house where Ricky met the Bate boys, and the guys are trying to convince her to buy it so she can stay longer. Then all 5 of them spend the summer together. But whenever Ned and Eva get a chance to be alone, Ned chickens out.
He's a horny bastard, isn't he?
Well, I wouldn't know. I just met him.
But eventually, she wants to spend the night, but Ned can't get it up when they go to bed.
You don't know how to use that, do you?
So she has Ricky drive her home, since his friends were just singing to them from outside the window. Later that night, they get giggle wasted. And Ned tells him how great Eva was.
She's a goddess.
You don't know anything!
So of course, they need to drive over to her house in the middle of the night to see her. She's dancing with John, but Sears wants a turn. But Ned says it's time to leave. Apparently it finally dawns on Sears that he doesn't have a chance with her, and he demands his dance with her. So she agrees to dance with all of them, and then kisses Ricky and John, so when she goes over to Sears to give him his dance, he calls her a slut.
So what's going on here, an orgy or something? Maybe a funeral, dickhead.
It's pretty funny how their "we're here for the gangbang" vibes went away when they realized she was into it.
Coincidence.
But she was just mad at Ned for lying about what happened earlier, and when she goes to tell him about how he couldn't get it up, Ned tackles her, and she hits her head on the marble fireplace.
What a brilliant tackle, and the fans go wild.
Ned, Ricky, and John freak out and try to help her, while Sears looks at her like, that bitch deserved it for not wanting to sleep with me.
Slut.
The medical student, John, can't find a pulse, so the law student, Sears, tells them they need to hide the body.
Hide it where it will never be found.
So they head to the nearby pond and drive Ricky's car in. But as it's sinking, she wakes up and starts banging on the window for them to help her. But the closest that anyone comes is Ned, who doesn't even get all the way in the water. And the rest just stand there like, well, that happened. But they're nice enough to comfort the guy that just turned them all into murderers. Because God forbid that his best friends, who are also all virgins,
what was it like?
Find out that he wasn't a complete stud the first time he ever had sex.
Love life? Worth it.
And so they've kept this secret for 50 years.
Wow, you guys lie with such ease.
Until her spirit wanted revenge and decided to kill them when they're all about to die soon anyway.
Who's laughing now, asshole?
So as we've seen before, when four friends think that they killed somebody and dispose of their body, sometimes they grow apart.
What are you two doing here?
But unlike the people in I Know What You Did Last Summer, these people lean into it and start telling each other scary stories once a month.
Why would they tell a story about a guy being buried alive when they buried her alive?
Well, because they drowned Eva. It's different.
I guess, but why would she go after Donna and David? It's not like they were there.
Well, they have to die, since the reason he killed her was that he couldn't get a boner.
Get away from me, bitch! I'm impotent!
You know, you didn't have to humiliate him in front of everyone.
I'm just trying to figure out how she managed to get a job at Don's university, rent a house, furnish said house, and even find a music box with the song that the Chowder Society used to sing to her.
She's the sweetheart of Sigma Chi.
Anyway, everyone in town assumed that she just went back home, and apparently the landlord never rented the place out again because all her crap is still there 50 years later for Finny Bate to wear.
Oh, Holly, you borrowed my panties again.
But the three of them go there, where Don immediately falls through the stairs and breaks his leg, so Sears goes for help. But Sears stupidly slams on his brakes when he sees a woman in a summer dress in the middle of a snowy road, and then swerves off the road to avoid a snowplow that's plowing an insane amount of snow off a road that's already clear. After he crashes into a snowdrift, he gets attacked by a 7-year-old, and he dies. But somehow Ricky still managed to get upstairs even without the stairs being there anymore, and he takes a look around. He finds Eva's name written in dust, so now he knows that it's her ghost killing him.
Aren't you even going to say hello?
Don tells Ricky that they'll save themselves by finally putting her body to rest.
Hold on. If putting her body to rest is what would stop all of this, then why did they go to the house where the loonies are hiding out, and not to the pond where her body is?
I don't know. But that's exactly what Ricky thinks when he leaves to go get Don some help.
I mean, don't leave me alone with this lunatic.
Unfortunately, he's picked up by Gregory Bate because Ricky was too stupid to look in the car before he got in. But Ricky stabs him, and he flips the car, and he dies. But somehow, the 70-year-old man is fine and gets the cops, a tow truck, and a diving team to fish the car from the bottom of the pond in the middle of the night because he asked nicely or some shit. And I guess calling an ambulance to pick up Don was too much to ask because he's still being slowly attacked by Eva in a wedding dress.
Why are you doing this to me?
To show you just how much you don't know.
I mean, he clearly has to die since he had second thoughts about marrying her after just a few weeks of dating.
And he came from Ned's boner.
And he's also a sex trophy. That's true.
This is my little boy.
All right, you beat him.
But Ricky manages to get the car out of the pond and open the door so Eva can finally get out, and she dies. Again.
I thought you'd be dying to see me.
So since Don isn't being attacked anymore, he's like, yay, Ricky did it! And somehow he can walk again.
It's all over. Daylight now.
Well, what about her revenge on Ricky?
Well, that old fart just led the police to the location of a car that was registered in his name containing a dead body. That dude is going to jail. He probably shouldn't have lied to his wife.
I'm going to take you to the south of France.
I want to buy my way into the Chowder Society.
Buy? What did you say?
It's free to join. Just hit the subscribe button.
Dance with me, you little toad.
And the moonlight beams on the girl of my dreams. She's the sweetheart of Sigma Chi.
Well, that's obvious, isn't it?